I stopped talking, and everything changed because silence removed the need to perform and forced me to focus on execution without witnesses, without approval, and without excuses. I realized that words create comfort, but results create certainty. So I cut the noise, stopped explaining my plans, and let discipline replace motivation. Because motivation fades when life gets heavy, but discipline stays when it's trained daily. I worked through boredom, stayed consistent through doubt, and honored standards. When quitting would have gone unnoticed, because the real work happens when no one is clapping. I learned to control my reactions because reacting gives power away. And power once given is hard to reclaim. So I stayed calm, under pressure, patient, under delay, and focused, under temptation. While others argued opinions, I stacked days. While others chased shortcuts, I built systems while others chased hype. And slowly, without announcement, my identity shifted from hopeful to reliable, from emotional to composed, from distracted to deliberate. I didn't rush outcomes because rushing exposes insecurity, and I didn't announce progress because announcements invite interference. I learned that silence protects momentum, and momentum turns effort into inevitability. I stopped needing validation because progress became proof. I stopped fearing misunderstanding because misunderstanding creates space to grow uninterrupted. And as the days compounded, so did my confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet certainty rooted in follow-through and self-trust. The kind that doesn't need reassurance, because it's built on evidence. I learned that discipline simplifies life. Because when standards are clear, decisions are easy. And when decisions are easy, energy is preserved. And when energy is preserved, execution improves. I became selective with time, words, and access because focus is expensive and distractions are thieves, and that selectivity sharpened everything. I touched. Results didn't arrive with noise. They arrived with clarity, calm, and control. And when they showed up, they settled conversations I never needed to have, because results don't argue, they don't explain, and they don't seek permission. They stand and change rooms quietly. I didn't become louder when things worked. I became more reserved, because silence had already proven its value, and I wasn't willing to trade control for attention. This wasn't about proving anyone wrong. It was about honoring the version of myself that stayed when it was hard, showed up when it was boring, and kept standards high when no one was watching. And if you're in that phase right now, misunderstood, overlooked, and tempted to explain, don't keep building, keep refining, and keep honoring your discipline. Because the moment you stop talking and let the work compound, everything changes. And when it does, you won't need to say a word, because the results will speak for you. And if this message resonates, subscribe now to Silent Alpha and stay ready, because the next message will arrive exactly when you need it most. And once the silence became permanent, the clarity became unavoidable. Because when you remove noise, you start hearing truth about yourself, your habits, your discipline, and your excuses. And that truth is uncomfortable, but powerful. I stopped lying to myself about effort and started measuring days by execution, not intention, because intention without action is just self-deception. I realized that most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack consistency, when things feel slow, repetitive, or unrewarding. And instead of escaping that phase, I leaned into it. I built routines that didn't depend on mood, and standards that didn't bend under pressure. Because pressure reveals structure, and I wanted mine solid. I learned to sit with delayed results without frustration, because impatience is often a sign that someone hasn't committed fully to the process, and I had committed without backup plans. I stopped reacting to outside opinions because opinions change daily, but progress compounds quietly, and that compound effect only works when protected from distraction. I noticed how silence sharpened focus, how focus improved execution, and how execution built confidence that didn't shake when timelines stretched or recognition disappeared. I became less emotional and more deliberate, choosing actions that aligned with long-term outcomes instead of short-term relief. And that shift alone changed everything, because once decisions are driven by standards instead of feelings, momentum becomes predictable. I didn't need to announce discipline, because discipline shows up in behavior. I didn't need to claim strength, because strength reveals itself under stress. And I didn't need to explain absence, because absence was the investment period where foundations were being built. Scene. I learned that the strongest people aren't the ones who speak the most. They're the ones who can remain consistent, without witnesses, without praise, and without urgency, forcing them to act. I protected my time like it was non-renewable, because it is, and I reduced access without guilt, because access without alignment drains focus, and focus is everything. When you're building something real, and slowly, the gap widened between me and my old self, not because of talent or luck, but because I stopped negotiating with discipline. And once discipline stopped being optional, everything else started falling into place naturally. And by the time progress became visible, it felt normal to me, because I had already lived with the standard long before the outcome arrived. And that's when I understood that silence doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how you see yourself. And when that internal shift happens, the rest is only a matter of time. And when the results finally began to show, they didn't surprise me, because I had already lived with the discipline long before the outcome arrived. And that is the difference between those who chase results and those who become them. I didn't feel the urge to announce progress or explain the journey, because explanation is for people still seeking approval. And I had moved beyond that phase. My confidence wasn't loud. It was settled, built on evidence collected day after day when no one was watching. I noticed how the same silence that once made me invisible now made me unreadable. And unreadable became strength, because predictability is a weakness in a world full of distractions. I moved with calm control, choosing restraint over reaction, patience over impulse, and consistency over intensity. Because intensity fades, but consistency rewrites identities. I became selective with my words, because most conversations lead nowhere, and selective with my energy, because not everything deserves access. And that selectivity protected focus, which protected momentum. I stopped fearing delays, because delays refine discipline, and I stopped chasing validation, because validation distracts from execution. I understood that peace is the reward of discipline. When you know you did the work regardless of outcomes, there is nothing left to fear. No opinions, no timelines, no uncertainty. And that peace changed how I carried myself, how I decided, and how I showed up under pressure. I didn't rush success, because speed without structure collapses. And I didn't slow standards, because standards without consistency erode. I stayed balanced, deliberate, and grounded, letting time reveal what discipline had already built internally. And when others finally noticed the change, I didn't respond, because responses invite debate, and debate wastes energy. Results end conversations completely. And if you're walking this path right now, quieter, more focused, and more disciplined than ever, understand this silence is not holding you back. It is shaping you. And the version of you being built right now will not need to explain anything later. Because when discipline compounds long enough, everything changes without a word being spoken. And even after the change became obvious, I didn't return to noise because noise was never the source of progress. Discipline was, and I understood that what builds you must also sustain you, or everything quietly erodes, so I kept the same routines that carried me through the unseen phase, knowing that comfort is the real test of character, not struggle. I didn't let success relax my standards or attention dilute my focus, because the moment standards slip, decline begins silently. I stayed intentional with my days, choosing structure over spontaneity and consistency over excitement, because excitement fades, but structure holds when motivation disappears. I learned that growth is a responsibility, not a destination. The responsibility to keep showing up when no one is pushing you anymore, to keep refining when improvement feels unnecessary, and to keep honoring commitments when shortcuts are available. I became more selective, not distant, but deliberate with my time, my energy, and my environment, because what you allow around you eventually shapes what you become. And I wasn't willing to risk what discipline had built. I stopped chasing new identities and louder versions of myself because effectiveness doesn't need reinvention. It needs maintenance. I focused on longevity, building habits that could survive success, boredom, and pressure, because true strength is revealed when urgency is gone and only standards remain. I watched others lose momentum once attention arrived, because they built for recognition instead of foundation, and that confirmed everything I believed. The work must always come before the noise, and the system must always come before the spotlight. I measured progress by how consistently I honored my standards, not by how others reacted to my position, and that internal scoreboard kept me grounded. Regardless of external shifts, silence became strategy, not avoidance. Timing, not fear, and restraint, not weakness, because knowing when not to speak is as powerful as knowing when to act, and that awareness protected everything I had built. If you're listening to this and you've reached a phase where results are visible, but discipline feels optional, remember, this discipline is never optional. It's the price of staying who you became. Keep choosing consistency when no one is watching. Keep protecting focus when distractions multiply, and keep honoring the silence that shaped you. Because the moment you stop talking and let the work compound is the moment everything changes, and the moment you keep that standard is how everything lasts. And now, looking back, I understand that stopping the noise wasn't about becoming distant. It was about becoming honest. Honest with my effort, my discipline, and my standards. Because when there is no audience, there is no performance, only truth. And that truth is what shaped everything that followed. I learned to sit alone with my progress without announcing it, without rushing it, and without needing anyone to validate it. Because validation fades, but self-respect stays. I stopped wasting energy trying to be seen and started investing it into becoming solid, reliable, and consistent. The kind of consistency that doesn't break under pressure, success, or boredom. I realized that most people are loud because they are uncertain, and most noise exists to hide lack of preparation. But when preparation is deep, silence feels natural, not forced. I no longer feared being overlooked, because being overlooked gave me space to grow without interference. And by the time attention arrived, I was already prepared to handle it without losing focus or discipline. I chose durability over speed, alignment over approval, and standards over shortcuts. And those choices compounded quietly into stability, clarity, and control, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything because it already knows. I understood that the real win isn't being noticed. It's being unshakable, being able to rely on yourself when motivation fades, when pressure rises, and when no one is watching. And if you're still in that phase right now, quiet, focused, and misunderstood, remember, this silence is not delaying your progress. It is protecting it. Every disciplined day is building something you won't need to explain later. So keep showing up, keep honoring your standards, and keep letting the work speak. Because when everything truly changes, you won't feel the need to talk about it. The results will already be doing that for you. And if this mindset resonates with you, subscribe now to Silent Alpha and stay connected, because the next message will arrive exactly when you're ready for it.